Hey real estate professionals, I wonder if you've noticed how different buying a home today is compared to just last year. Be honest, have all the underwriting changes and regulatory changes made it more difficult for your clients with good credit and money to buy a home? I think we can all agree it's more difficult to buy a house today, maybe harder than it's been in at least 20, 30 years or more. Hi, my name's Kurt Jackson. I've been in the mortgage business in Kansas City since 1992, and I tell you, I'm finally fed up with all the anti-consumer, anti-homebuyer sentiment that the government is disguising as helping the consumer. I'm fed up with it, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I've been searching high and low for a solution that will take better care of the home buyer, help the real estate agent do what they do best, real estate, and maybe, just maybe, stick it to the banks, the mortgage companies, and even the government. I think I might have come up with a way to do that, and if you're interested in finding out more, we'll just sit tight and let me explain this in detail. Fair enough? After the housing crisis and mortgage meltdown, the government, in an attempt to fix the problems that cause the economic upheaval, has decided to work with the very cause of those problems, Wall Street and the banks. Acting under the guise of the consumer protection, they have not only greatly tightened underwriting guidelines, but have also added so many new rules and regulations that have made the entire home buying process much more complicated and tremendously more confusing. And we all know that confusion leads the buyer to make expensive mistakes. By all appearances, the government is so beholden to Wall Street and the banks that they ignored the Federal Trade Commission's finding that the new process, especially the good faith estimate, is so confusing that the home buyer will be much more likely to choose the more expensive loan from banks and mortgage banks. Interesting, huh? Than a cheaper loan from a mortgage broker. Let me put this into proper perspective. See, buying a home entails the home buyer to make the financial commitment to pay $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 or more of their hard-earned money over the next 15 to 30 years. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't the size of that commitment alone make this the most important financial decision the home buyer will make in their life? Well, sit back, because that's just the beginning of the financial impacts buying a home can have. The average home buyer is committing as much as 35% or more of their take-home pay for 30 years or more in many cases. When you think about it in those terms, it's an enormous financial undertaking for the home buyer and their family. And decisions of this magnitude can have a long-lasting impact on the home buyer's ability to financially handle their needs, goals, and desires. Have your buyers thought about what would happen to their family and house if they lost their job, became disabled, got divorced, or died prematurely? Have your home buyers thought about how the house, the monthly payment, down payment, type of loan term, and the remaining debt structure will impact their ability to fund daily financial activities, to fund college for their children, to shape their retirement, and allow them to handle any possible long-term care issues? Shouldn't they? Could anyone argue that buying a home is not only a life-altering decision, it's a life-defining decision? The possible ramifications to the family of making wrong decisions surrounding the home purchase could be of epic proportions. All right, so we've established that buying a home is a huge decision. Why is it then that everyone involved in this process has become so brainwashed into following conventional wisdom, thus believing that the only things that are important are getting the lowest rate and the lowest payment on the most house? How do we know that's what's most important aspect to each and every buyer? Wouldn't it make sense that we don't know what's important to each and every buyer unless we really ask them? All right, well, we've concluded that decision to buy a home and the many decisions surrounding buying a home is a gigantic financial undertaking. Is there anyone acting on the buyer's behalf to help them make all those financial decisions? Is there anyone in the process making sure what they are doing is suitable for them and their family? The financial community has strict suitability standards. Shouldn't there be the same type of standards for a financial decision of this scale? Shouldn't a financial decision of this magnitude require the buyer to have a fiduciary representing them? If you don't know what a fiduciary relationship is, Black's Law Dictionary describes a fiduciary relationship as one founded on trust or confidence reposed by one person in the integrity and fidelity of another. A fiduciary has a duty to act primarily for the client's benefit in matters connected with the undertaking and not for the fiduciary's own personal interest. Doesn't a homebuyer deserve a fiduciary representing them in making the most important financial decision of their life? Come on, if we're being honest with ourselves, shouldn't it be a requirement? And for those that say the buyer should be able to look out for themselves, well, you know what? Well, just look at the carnage caused homeowners thanks to the programs and marketing blitz that the banks and mortgage companies utilized in the early to mid part of the past decade that helped cause this economic fiasco. Right now, there is nobody in the entire purchase process that is a fiduciary of the homebuyer. Not even a real estate agent or a member of the National Association of Realtors. You know, the loan officer is obligated to the bank or mortgage company. The bank is beholden to their shareholders, their bottom line, and Wall Street. Wall Street is duty bound to their shareholders and investors. And even though the government should be acting in the interest of the people, the reality of the situation is that they are compelled to go where the money is. And that is definitely with the banking and Wall Street lobbyists. Why is that? Could it be that if a buyer had a fiduciary representing them, then the loan officer wouldn't be able to put them into the loan program rate and fee structure that maximizes the bank or mortgage company's bottom line? Wouldn't a fiduciary to the buyer be able to help them structure the purchase to best protect the buyer, thus making the bank, Wall Street, and investor less protected? Wouldn't the fiduciary also have the ability to make sure that the buyer buys a house they can afford without exposing their family to undue risk, which currently nobody does? Just because there are debt ratios and loan qualifying doesn't mean that a particular buyer can afford that much of a house payment. Are real estate agents sufficiently trained in the financial aspects of a client's life to be giving advice on what the best mortgage payment should be, how much house they can safely buy, and how much of their assets should be allocated to the home purchase? The agents that do any qualifying are using the debt ratios the lenders have established because they know that that their buyer can qualify up to that amount, and is that what's in the best interest of the home buyer? See, unfortunately, even the financial planning community has bought into the conventional wisdom that Wall Street and the banks want them to believe. Financial pros also largely believe that buying a house is just a commodity bought only on price, so they haven't educated themselves to where they know enough about home finance to be advising their clients on it. In my more than 19 years of originating loans and the past 7 years of being more and more of an advisor on the financial side of the home buying process, I have finally gotten fed up with how home buyers are getting taken advantage of from all sides. And in order for me to be able to help more home buyers, I've given up originating loans and I have become a personal mortgage advocate and asset protection specialist for home buyers, a financial expert for the house and how it should safely fit into a home buyer's, every home buyer's current financial plan. Finally, someone in the process that will act in the home buyer's best interest and will be contractually obligated to do so. When you discover all the ways a personal mortgage advocate can safely save your clients money, make them money, manage their risk, and protect their valuable treasures, especially their families, you will be so happy you decided to have us be your buyer's personal mortgage advocate. Yeah, we're adding a new layer to the process, but by paying the upfront home buying planning fee with a 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee, the buyer will receive extraordinary benefits. Their personal home buying financial plan will be rooted in safety, savings, as well as short and long-term planning. By minimizing the money risks in life, we can also create a safe way to protect all their treasured assets. A big part of our personalized planning process is determining their safest monthly payment and the safest way to allocate their liquid funds, thus allowing us to determine the optimal purchase price and, more importantly, the ideal financing structure for each buyer. To maximize savings, it will be of the utmost importance to start as early in the home buying process as possible so our credit score maximization program can be fully implemented. The home buyer will undergo a comprehensive financial analysis to determine their needs, goals, and dreams. In this process, we'll formulate a financial strategy to meet as many of those goals, needs, and dreams as possible while also making sure all of their assets are safe, especially their loved ones. We develop a debt management elimination plan as well as a major purchase strategy that can easily use the rest of their life to save them hundreds of thousands of dollars. We'll package them in the best light to qualify for the lowest rates and fees on the best program for them and not the banks or mortgage companies. There's no recommendation for any particular lenders, but a list of ones that have delivered what they've promised and ones that don't will be developed. We'll thoroughly review every lender's offer to help the client determine which one is best. If the client wants us to, we'll even be the contact person for the lender to call during the process. We'll make sure the lender is meeting all the new regulations and we'll audit the note, the deed of trust, and closing statement before we recommend them to sign. This is something new, but with all the obstacles the government, Wall Street, and the banks are putting up, anyone buying a home needs a new weapon to make sure they don't get taken advantage of. We've created a new website, personalmortgageadvocate.com, where we have more detailed information and we'll be adding case studies as time goes. Don't look at this as an additional cost. It's more of an investment in the consumer's financial future and one that comes with a 100% money-back guarantee if they aren't satisfied and our process can't show them how to save at least $25,000 over what they're planning on doing. Take some time to check out our ever-growing website, and if you do have questions, please call Kurt at 816-582-5532 or email them to kurt@personalmortgageadvocate.com. Don't let your clients swim in the shark-infested waters of buying a home without a trained professional guiding them to safety. Thanks.